Welcome everyone, and yes, I'd like to show my respect and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we're meeting today all across our country, and pay my respects to them and their culture, and to elders past, present and emerging. I'm just having some technical problems, but I'm here now. It's going to be a great day with the awards. The awards, as you may or may not know, were incredibly successful last year when we actually, Glenn managed to travel around to all of our capital cities and territories to actually have a ceremony in person, which was fantastic. I was the one in New South Wales, obviously. I live in New South Wales. But we can't do that. So we're doing the next thing, best thing, and we're doing the awards here in this wonderful room that I feel like I've spent half my life in since Men's Health Connected started, but it's been really, really good. And I'm looking forward to it because a lot of these programs and projects, I thought I've heard about most of them, but there's quite a few every time that I haven't heard of. So it should be a really, really exciting hour or so that we've got together. Thanks, Glenn.
Great, and thank you. Thanks, Greg. I think you were very probably involved in the first National Men's Health Awards, which I think was at the gathering in 2013. Looking back through our history,
I think so.
Yeah, I think the National Men's Health Awards is something we've run since. For those who don't know, the Australian Men's Health Forum has been around in different ways since about 2015. Sorry, 1995. Nearly 25 years.
Yeah.
We trace our history back to the National Men's Health Gathering in Melbourne, 1995, and this year we were due to hold our 25th anniversary awards in Melbourne. But you may have noticed, the observant amongst you will have noticed, there's been a little bit of a pandemic, and has made things like that, like gathering in small rooms in large numbers, quite difficult. So one of the things that we've done in recent years at the National Men's Health Gathering is announce the winners of the National Men's Health Awards, something which we used to run every couple of years. And then recently we've shifted to doing it every year. And last year we introduced the innovation of having some state and territory awards. And if we look back, I think when we first started, maybe we would get about 20 organizations put forward for 4 or 5 awards, and we would have a judging panel. But over the last couple of years, we've seen a massive growth of organizations in the men's health sector. And by the men's health sector, we just mean any organization who's working to improve the lives or the health of men and boys. And those two things are very closely linked. We believe that health isn't just about exercise and smoking and diet, though all those things are very important. It's also about all those things in your life that keep you healthy, what some people call the social determinants of health. Stuff like relationships and work and our financial status and our housing conditions and those types of things. So we get a really diverse range of organizations who we classify as being in the world of men's health. And doing the awards is one way to celebrate what's really great about all the people working in our fantastic and growing sector. Unfortunately, we can't give everyone an award, but that doesn't mean to say that all of you and all the organizations you represent aren't worthy of credit and acknowledgement and celebration. You bloody well are, every single one of you. But awards bring a focus to good work, and awards bring a focus to our sector. And one of the really nice things that we noticed was when we did this last year, we always put out some news around about Men's Health Week, and we often focus on those negative things. You know, men die 6 years younger than women, 3 in 4 suicides are men, 95% of workplace deaths are men, all these kind of like hard-hitting statistics, which are really important to keep a focus on why we need to particularly target men's health. But it can also become a bit negative and always be the sort of the subject of negative headlines, either these negative statistics or negative stories saying, why don't blokes get better care of their health? But what we noticed by doing the state and territory awards last year, we started to see a lot of also very positive coverage across social media and in the mainstream media, just celebrating good work. So if that's the only reason we do this, then that's a good enough reason, because it puts a positive light on the good and positive work we do to improve men and boys' health. But we think it's also important to acknowledge good practice so we can learn from it. And we also know a lot of the organisations, I mean, our organisations that are in our membership and our broader network range from individuals running something on a voluntary basis up to an organisation like Movember, which has a fair bit of money, as you probably noticed. And they're all doing good and valuable work. But it's really important not just to acknowledge the excellent work that the big boys do, but also the fantastic and emerging work that some of the smaller players do. And hopefully, and also specifically champion individuals who are going the extra mile. And so, if Shruti, would you share the ACT slide now, please? So what we've done this year, and I think this really marks actually the ongoing growth of our sector, is that last year we had about 60, 70 nominations, and for the first time we did a public vote, and about 3,000 people voted. This year we've had over 100 nominations, and over 5,000 people have voted. So we need the that's the one. Beautiful. So, Shroof is just working out how best to share that so that we can actually see it. Thank you to Shroofy. We've actually got a small team of international students who are doing an internship with us. And Shroofy is one of our interns who's doing a fantastic job helping us with production. Thank you, Shroofy.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this year we've got, we decided to have, we thought it might be a stretch, but to have, and we didn't think we'd get nominations in every state and territory, but we decided to have 5 categories. And we've actually found we've managed to get at least 1 nomination in every category for every state and territory. And so the awards are going to work on 2 levels. One, every one of these people named as a finalist and deserves celebration. So we're going to celebrate these individual projects today. Also, every single name you'll see on this slide and the slide for New South Wales will go through to the national final and will be up for the national award in each category, which will be announced on Friday. So we're going to announce a winner today, just 1 in each state and territory, but it doesn't mean that the other categories aren't still in the running, because they are still in the running potentially for a national award. We introduced the idea of a public vote in the last year, and we found that was a great way of getting a sense check of which people and which organisations are really resonating with the wider community. And we also recognise that not everyone has as many friends or is as good on social media as everyone else. And so we also want to balance that out with a smaller judging panel. So today's award will go to the individual or the project in each state and territory which won the most votes from the public. And our national award will be decided on a judging panel to make sure it's fair and equal for all organisations, whether or not they have a big social media following or not. So with no further ado, I'm going to work through each of these categories for the ACT and acknowledge them. Now, if you're in the room and you're from one of these organisations, please post in the comments box, because I'd like to come to you and say hi. Or if you work closely with one of these organisations and you want to personally acknowledge them for the work they do. So I'm not sure if Martin Fisk is here, but if anyone knows Martin or is from Men's Link, just please comment in the comment box, and I'll come to you to just say a few words about Martin. But I've known Martin for probably getting on for 10 years. I actually met him online before I even came to Australia, and he's been doing astounding work for about 10 years now, running Men's Link, which focuses on counselling for young men and various other activities. It'd be great if there was a men's link in every state and territory. It's a real local organisation, and so I'm delighted to see that Martin has, who's very modest, and may not have told anyone about this. I know how modest he is, but I'm really delighted to see that Martin has been chosen for the Local Men's Hero Award and will go through to the national final representing the ACT. Remember, if you're in the room, do say, because I'll come to you. And if you can comment on behalf of this organisation, do please post in the chat box as I move to the next person. Jeff Didier is someone who's very new to us, but got recommended to us by last year's winner in the ACT, which is Men's Health Down Under, a pharmacist that directly targets men, particularly those with prostate issues. And Jeff Didier is a survivor of prostate cancer and apparently doing amazing work sharing his story. And he's going to be on Men's Health TV with us tomorrow during Men's Health Week. I don't know if Jeff's here. If he is, shout out. But if not, I will move to the next person. For Best Men's Group or Programme, we have two contenders, Nacho, their Oka Day. So Nacho is the National Aboriginal Community Controlled Health Organisation. They are a peak body for Aboriginal Community Controlled Health Organisations all over Australia. And since about 2013, they've been running the National Men's Health Oka Day, which is a fantastic gathering which brings together Aboriginal men's health workers from all over the country. Really pleased to see them being acknowledged for that important work. The event goes all over the country, but they're headquartered in Canberra, and I think a particular shout should go out to their policy officer, men's health policy officer, John Havnan, who's been a real ambassador for Aboriginal men's health through Nacho. And also the AusHelp Foundation and Darren Black, CEO of AusHelp, which does amazing work promoting men's health through the workplace. He joined us on our very first Men's Health TV program today. And Darren, as you're here, I wondered if you would say a few words, just to say hello and say a bit about your organisation and the work you've been doing.
Sure, Glenn. Thanks so much. It was great to join you on the program earlier today. Look, AusHelp has been working in the space of suicide prevention and improving mental health, predominantly with men in male-dominated industries like construction, mining, and more recently sort of transport and farming for many years now. Very much on the ground, preventive education, training, health screening. We employ nurses, social workers, counsellors. Really terrific grassroots organisation, very much focused on improving health and well-being, particularly for male-dominated workforces where you've got high risk factors.
Right. Perfect. Thanks. And if you haven't already, do go along to the Men's Health TV Facebook page and you'll see Darren's talk from earlier today on there. Thanks. Delighted to see you've been nominated, Darren, for you and the team.
Thank you.
And thanks for being here. So we've got a category we've introduced this year, women working in men's health. I think we are very proud and unapologetic about the fact that a big part of our sector is blokes helping blokes. The health sector, particularly at practitioner level, is more women than men, and we really celebrate men working in men's health and supporting other blokes. We think that's really important. We also acknowledge that there are some amazing women doing work in men's health, and we thought it would be a great idea this year to do a new category of women working in men's health, and it's been super popular. Now, I'm just getting a message that someone can't hear anything. I'm just checking, can everyone else hear? Someone say yes?
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
So some people can. Sorry to hear that, Josh, but some people can hear. So for the ACT, we have the wonderful Pip Selden from the Healthy Tradie Project. I think Pip's here. Are you here, Pip?
I am. Thanks, Glenn.
Great. Would you like to say hello and say a little bit about the work that you do?
Yeah, thank you very much. My history for the past decade has been working in the construction industry, and But the project that I founded, the Healthy Tradie Project, has really been built off a personal lived experience of suicide, having lost my eldest brother to suicide just over 10 years ago. So for me, I'm passionate about having an influence within our industry around our approach to health and wellbeing, and supporting tradies in particular around how they can live healthier, but also deal with the pressures and the stress and I guess the challenges that we face working in this industry. So we're focused around education. We're focused around really giving some practical tools and tips for tradies and construction workers when it comes to living healthier through movement, through mindfulness, and through nutrition and some lifestyle behaviours.
Great work you're doing, Pip, and really great to see your project going from strength to strength each year, and to see you acknowledged this year in this category. So last but not least, for the ACT, this is something we introduced for reasons you'll understand, quite short notice. The most significant response to COVID-19. So many, pretty much all organisations were closed down in some way or impacted in some way by COVID-19. But the issues that all of these organisations work to address, of course, didn't go away overnight. And so we saw a great response to this across the men's health sector, particularly by organisations that didn't necessarily have the resources to sort of do it, and just using innovation, hard work, commitment, dedication. So I'm delighted that we've got this category, because it just kind of really speaks to our sector's ability to adapt and respond. And I think many of the innovations that have been introduced in the last 2 or 3 months will probably continue. Even though most of us, I think, are looking forward to getting back face to face with the people that we work with. So I want to acknowledge every man who've been on the men's health scene and on the Canberra scene for so many years, and they've been nominated for the way that they took their services, not just online, but made sure they were still connecting with the men they work with. And I think Greg's here from Everyman, who can explain what they've done a lot better than I can, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm here and I'm unmuted. Look out.
Say good day, Greg, and let us know what you've been up to.
Well, hi, Glenn. Hi, everyone. It's really great to receive this nomination, and I've certainly passed the information about the nomination on to my staff, who, of course, are all out of the office and busy with clients. They've left me on my own, which sometimes is nice. But during COVID-19, it's been a lonely time for everyone, including the families of the men that we work with. Our organisation's been around in its current form since about 2004, although the history goes back a few years before that. We work specifically with men with high and complex needs. So we work a lot with guys coming out of prison, out of drug and alcohol programs, people who are involved in forensic mental health and other mental health services. And we also provide supported accommodation and outreach services to Indigenous families and individuals here in the ACT. That's something we've been doing for the last few years. One of the things that's really interesting about that program is that we support a lot of single Aboriginal men coming out of prison, and guys who are either coming out of prison or might even be escaping domestic or family violence, who have their own children with them as well. And it's the only program left in the ACT after the demise of the Canberra Fathers and Children's Services that's currently taking single dads. All of the other services are family services, and women escaping domestic violence who have children with them are quite naturally triaged as being of higher needs. So we spend a lot of time trying to support dads who've got children with them. We have a counselling service, violence prevention service, which is where the idea for our Connect and Support program came from, which was our response to COVID-19. A lot of people would have seen the speculation in the early days of COVID-19 that all of the families that were locked in were going to be hothouses and there were going to be a lot of problems with escalating violence. We used to have a program that we ran as a trial many years ago, which the foundation of that was still there. The original idea was that we wanted to create a help-seeking culture for men in the ACT who are at risk of using violence. So rather than promoting the service as a, let's catch these evil people, our position has always been that it's in men's interests to stop using violence. And so we offer our violence prevention services for the kids and for the partners, but we also offer them for the men. Our organisation's been engaging men who a lot of other services don't find terribly interesting. I go back to, I think it was 1979 as a community services worker, and I've worked a lot in religious and non-religious welfare services. Workforces, predominantly women, guys come in, they're loud, they're abusive, they've got all of those behaviours, and they're very often ejected out the front door because they pose a risk or people feel unsafe around them. So what me and my co-founder Gerald Franks decided to do was to create an organisation that would actually welcome those guys, and we've been doing that pretty much ever since 2004.
Great.
So our service, Connect and Support, is basically a phone line. You can ring at any time. We don't have any funding for it, so we've created it out of our own resources. But what it means is that somebody, having said that, the Violence Prevention Services coordinator takes the phone home with him on weekends. So if anybody rang, he would answer the phone and just not put it on his timesheet and not charge us overtime. I hope there's nobody from the Fair Work Commission on this call. So he's pretty dedicated to providing that service to anyone. And we haven't seen as much demand as we thought we would, but we probably had about 15, 20 people come through, and there's quite a few sitting inside of our waiting list as well. What it does is it gives them an opportunity to have somebody to talk to straight away, so that if there is something going on at home they're concerned about, we can intervene and offer them support pretty much straight away.
Okay.
And that's what the program does.
Great, Greg, that's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that really important work you're doing. Look, we need to do a virtual clap or thumbs up, whatever you can do. If you don't know this reactions thing, you can thumbs up and clap, not just for Greg, but for all of the awesome ACT nominees. Now look, Canberra, as you'll understand, and the ACT is one of the smallest pools that we have to choose from. And you can see, even in this small pool of population, we have guys working with young men, we have guys doing workplace projects, we have men with prostate cancer using their experience to help other men, we have people going out, women like Pip and her team going out and helping tradies improve their health on work sites, and Greg and his team have been around for years, who are like pioneers in their field, doing that really important work at the pointy end that they're doing. Every single individual and organization doing awesome work, and just shows the diversity, even in that small snapshot, a diversity of what we call the men and boys health sector. So at this point, I'm going to do one more thing, which is I'm going to let you know that we have a top three. Okay. And in no particular order, just randomly taking my pen onto my pad here, the top three are, and again, virtual hands and claps, please, for this. We have Pip Selden of the Healthy Tradie Project. We have Jeff Didier, who's sharing his lived experience of prostate cancer, and the Oz Health Foundation. You're the top three, and the winner is going to be revealed after the New South Wales shortlist. Oh, we've got to keep you in the room. Can't have you getting your award and then running off and leaving the New South Wales boys and girls on their own. No. So hang on in there. We're going to get Shrufi to share the New South Wales slide, and then we'll do the winners all together at the end and pop a virtual champagne cork. So Shrufi, have we got the New South Wales winners slide, please? Slightly bigger this. Let's see how we go. Again, if you're in the room, shout out, and we'll make sure we come to you. So, Local Men's Hero Award. This is Local Men's Health Hero Award. We've got two nominees. We've got Josh Tree, who's doing great things with It's a Bloke Lunch and many other projects. And we've got Ian Westmoreland of Mentoring Men. Josh, you may have been having technical difficulties earlier. Are you there to say hello? He's going to have a go. He's unmuting his iPhone. Yeah, I think have a little go, Josh, but you're not very clear. Go on. No, we're not getting you, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
we're not getting you. So if some of the team could actually just share a link to It's a Bloke Lunch in the chat box so people can see the diversity of work, and actually maybe even a link to the page that's got all the nominees on so people can go and have a look and see the bio there. But Ian Westmoreland of Mentoring Men, I know you're here. Ian?
Hi, Glenn.
Hey, tell us who you are and a little bit about what you've been up to.
I've been a volunteer mentor for the last 5 or 6 years, and about 18 months ago I realised there was nothing in the mentoring landscape in Australia for men of all ages. So we launched back in November 2018, and the program has boomed. It's clearly hit the spot. There's our mentors are all volunteers. They range from 21, our oldest is 86, and our mentees range from 18, our oldest is 85. So our mentors are all trained and validated, and they just support another man in his life journey. In fact, that's our mission statement, is just supporting men in life. So if anyone's interested, there's no cost with any aspect of the program. And we're saving and transforming the lives of Aussie men.
Fantastic. Great work, Ian. Ian featured at our Men's Mental Health Movement meetup, which is one of my favourite days so far in the Men's Health Connected Online Summit. An example of one of the many emerging grassroots projects that are springing up all over Australia at the moment. It's really exciting. So in the men's best lived experience speaker spot, I think, just want to say about this category, it's a really important category. We're often told, that men don't talk. Those of us who work with men and boys know that men do talk if you give them the right setting. But at the same time, we're often told that men need to shut up and men talk too much and take up too much space. It's an interesting, or that men mansplain. It's an interesting contrast. And I think the idea of lived experience, sometimes actually men are excluded from the world of lived experience as a group, because lived experience is often reserved for people in the minority, and men are not considered to be in a minority. But if we want, it's become more of a norm for men to share their stories, to talk about their emotional journeys, to talk about how things impact their health and well-being, then we really need to actually support and embrace men sharing their lived experience. So we're really pleased to introduce this category, not just to celebrate the individuals, but also to actually contribute to the idea that we need to make men sharing their stories a part of our culture. And so 2 guys in New South Wales who do an awesome job of that. Joe Williams, I don't think Joe's here, but many of you will know of Joe. He's been doing amazing work as an Aboriginal man out there talking at men's mental health, talking at mental health and suicide prevention conferences. I don't know how many talks Joe has done now, but sharing his own personal demons and his own personal journey in a really positive and inspiring way. Through his work with a project called The Enemy Within. And now just a fantastic character on the whole sort of lived experience suicide prevention scene. And what's great about the awards as well is that we get to meet new people, because we like to think we know everything, but we absolutely don't. And every year we discover new people, new projects. So David Oliver was actually recommended to us by someone in the ACT. He's got some Canberra connections, but he's over in this category because he's now based in New South Wales. And I think you're on, Dave, with your dog. Would you like to say good day and let us know what it is that you've been sharing your lived experience of?
G'day, mate. Thank you. My name's David Oliver. I am developing a presentable resource for mainly hypermasculine, hyperheterosexual, the major sporting codes here in Australia. As someone who really struggled coming to terms with their sexuality, being heavily involved in rugby union is my sport here in Australia for a long time. I suffered the debilitating effects of toxic shame and unfortunately found myself in a really, really dangerous substance use and abuse cycle. And unfortunately, that story is all too common out there in Australian sporting world. And when you add in, really harmful toxic shame around having to come to terms with sexuality, it's a really dangerous mix. So my goal is to share my story as much as I possibly can out there, really push the envelope, get up on the shoulders of those amazing people from the rainbow community who have walked before me. But now's the time to have every sporting club in Australia hearing my story and my message, having now been involved with a couple of rugby clubs as an openly gay man and having an amazing time and an experience doing that. So I'm looking forward to sharing my story.
Great work you're doing, Dave, and that work you're doing now, developing resources for clubs and some applause going there. Totally agree. Is that what you're doing, developing those resources to bring about culture change is awesome. And we really enjoyed having you at our day focused on sport and men's health during the summit. So I'm great to see you shortlisted here, and delighted that through the Men's Health Awards we've come into contact with you. So hope we continue to build a strong and positive relationship with you and the work that you're doing. So we'll move on to Best Men's Group or Programme, and a couple of nominations here. I don't think Manifest is represented, but Manifest is an event that was held in Sydney, driven by two guys in particular, Juvan Langford and the man's coach, Mike Campbell. But they had a great team they brought together, and they did an awesome event at Sydney Town Hall, and it really kind of like burst onto the scene and happened around International Men's Day over 3 days last November, and has been nominated as one of the best men's programs, certainly to emerge in one of the best men's health initiatives to emerge in the last 12 months. Also in this category is the Extraordinary Man Walk. I've spoken to these guys a few times. For those who don't know their story, they went from a single social group to nearly 70 groups in a very short period of time. Each time I speak to these guys, I say, until it used to be the most viral thing before the coronavirus came along. And actually, when you look at the coronavirus in Australia, I think probably more people have been impacted by a man walk than have been impacted by COVID so far. So setting aside that flippancy, I'm going to say hello to Mark Burns of the Man Walk, who I believe is in the room.
Hey, Glenn, thanks very much, mate. Really appreciate it. Yeah, you're right. It was a fairly rapid increase in our reach as of last June when one of our posts went viral. So we're an organisation that basically helps men find a man walk near them or helps them set one up themselves if there isn't one close to them. So our vision is connecting men and strengthening communities. And we seem to have struck a chord with that 30 to 60-year-old male around Australia who is ready to reach out and find some social contact, who may be suffering from loneliness and social isolation. And it's a chance to get out and have a walk and a talk side by side, either talk about the everyday things or how good you used to be at rugby or what's happening at work, or also there's always an ear there if you want to go a bit deeper. And say it's a way to connect, and that's what we need in community these days. And then if people need more help than we can provide, then we have avenues to refer them on to more professional organisations. So yeah, it's been wonderful.
Great, fantastic work you guys have been doing. Awesome to see it spread, and it's obviously one of those really sticky ideas, and blokes are really responding to it. And you were one of the organisations we included at our men's mental health meetup during the summit, because you represent the groundswell of interest amongst men in creating sort of local communities, social bonds to promote and improve mental health. It's really exciting to see the Man Walk and other projects like yours growing and developing. Thanks for being here, and all the team. We'll move on to women working in men's health. Another sort of mainstay of the men's health sector, Top Blokes, actually formed by a young woman, I don't know how many years ago now, but must be getting on for 10 years, correct me if I'm wrong, and who do amazing work with young men through school settings, and have a, not just, we've put it the Top Blokes team, because whilst the founder, Melissa herself, could definitely have qualified for a Women Working in Men's Health Award, what was put forward was the team of female mentors. And I haven't got the names in front of me, so I'm going to have to rely on someone from Top Blokes to tell us. Make sure you give everyone a name check, Amanda, because the team's huge. Over to you.
Well, yes, Melissa started Top Blokes in 2006 in a response to all, as you said when you opened, Glenn, all the negative coverage of men in the media, the lack of opportunities for men to address the negative coverage they were copying in the media. And at the time, a lack of mentors for young men. And it's gone from one-day programs to what we are now, and we do 3-month programs or 6-month programs for 12 to 24-year-olds. So we work with year 6s in primary schools, year 9 and 10 in high school, and then we have community-based groups for 16 to 24-year-olds. As a part of the community-based group, the guys can do work development orders, so they can work down their fines, which sometimes is somewhat insurmountable, depending on, driving records or jumping trains. But we're social education and mentoring. The high school programs are 6 months, and we cover topics like mental health, anger management, masculinity, sexuality, and all the fun stuff, drugs, sex, alcohol, pornography. And it's really amazing to see the young men actually open up and want to have these conversations without having the capacity to have them in other arenas in their lives. You don't really want to talk to mum about pornography, do you? So it's great to be able to have those conversations with them. And, the reality of, addiction to pornography is really shaping your relationships and how you treat each other and yourselves. But phenomenal programs, amazing outcomes. We're looking at about 1,000 young men through the programs every year. We're in Illawarra, Central Coast, Western Sydney. We're opening up in Brisbane. We're in the Hunter. We're in South Sydney. So ever expanding. But we're a charity, so we beg, borrow and steal our money, as all of you are. But yeah, our management are all female. We have a team of female mentors who we pair with male mentors, so we don't send 2 females into a program. But the participants really appreciate the female perspective on these topics, especially when it comes to healthy relationships and things like that. So we have Bianca from the Central Coast, myself from Western Sydney, and Grace and Lana from the Illawarra. We're all super passionate about it. I mean, my background is special homelessness services. So coming from that into this space where we're now early intervention and prevention, stopping the guys from getting to that crisis place. It's just awesome. And the guys really respond really well. We've also got a very thorough evaluation thing, but that's, for the money people to talk about. I just love seeing how far the boys come.
That's great. Oh, fantastic, Bianca. So Bianca, Grace, Liana, and so that's fantastic. You're Amanda. That's fantastic, Amanda. And congratulations also, Grace, Liana, and Bianca.
Lana, but yeah. Sure.
Lana. Got it. And probably the truest thing that anyone's said to me today, you're right. I don't want to talk to my mum about pornography. You're absolutely spot on that one. And she doesn't want to talk to me about it either. So,
indeed.
Moving on, very important topic, but I'm going to move on. Thank you for being here. Well done. Really great to see the Top Blokes team. And I didn't realize it was as long ago as 2006. Melissa's an awesome leader, and she's one of those leaders who really allows space for her team to thrive and grow, whether that's young guys like Will Homer, who's been brought along in your team and did a great presentation last week, or more importantly today, because we're focused on the female team, all the amazing women that are working at Top Blokes and helping it grow and thrive and making a difference for young blokes across all the areas where you work. So thanks for being here and congratulations. So 2 more. We've got the significant response to COVID-19. I'm not sure if anyone's here from Parents Beyond Breakup, the Dads in Distress group. Just give us a shout if you are. And I do think that someone from Mr. Perfect was going to join us. Either Terry.
I'm here, Glenn. I'm here.
Over to you.
But firstly, thanks for having me. I wasn't distracted while I've been on the camera. I'm just supposed to be working in my day job, so hopefully my boss doesn't realise. But just wanted to say, yeah, thanks for basically being nominated. Whoever nominated is first up. Absolutely incredible. We won an award last year, and I didn't know too much about the MHF before then, but since then, it's no kind of coincidence that with their support as well, we've grown and become more aware of what's around us and how effective we can be. Essentially, we run barbecues across Australia, community barbecues, focused on men in about almost 30 locations now. Very casual, social, non-clinical, 2 hours a month. And pre-COVID, yeah, we were running quite a few and definitely growing. But I think what this award specifically we've been nominated for or shortlisted has shown that we have a huge amount of support from a lot of people, not just inside our own organisation. And that allowed us to act very quickly, change a few things up, offer some online stuff, online barbecues, what we were doing, and a few other things where I was kind of pushed into an uncomfortable space of doing live streams with people and interviewing people. And it's actually been one of the best things I've ever done to get a lot of clinical perspective and other people's perspective on not just what we're doing, but on answering questions and advice and everything else for our community. So yeah, thank you so much.
Great. Great to see you going from strength to strength each year, Terry, and the Mr. Perfect team. You can buy Mr. Perfect and Manwalk, two organisations run mostly on a voluntary basis, and they've got 100 sites between them. Just those two organisations. It just demonstrates what is possible for this awesome grassroots community part of the men's health sector. And another organisation that sort of started as a voluntary organisation, Parents Beyond Breakup, which runs the Dads in Distress support groups. I'm on the board, so I will speak on their behalf, if I may. Founded in 1999 in Coffs Harbour on a veranda by a guy called Tony Miller, who was a suicidal separated dad, and thought rather than killing himself, he would see if he could get together with some other dads in the same situation and see if they could help each other out. He formed a support group on his veranda, and that grew into Dads in Distress Support Services, which has groups all over the country and a helpline. And slowly, bit by bit, was starting to develop some online support and connection. And then COVID-19 hit, and all those peer support groups run by volunteers were closed down overnight. And so what Parents Beyond Breakup, as the charity which runs DIDS is now called, what Parents Beyond Breakup did is they went back to basics in some ways, but also looked to the future. They went back to basics and recognized the power of the veranda that started the organization, but also embraced the opportunities that online technology present. And because of COVID-19, they now have the virtual veranda where separated dads anywhere in the country can access a support group online. I'm obviously personally delighted to see them nominated. And to be clear, have taken no part in any way in the process of voting for that group to make sure there's no unfairness. So what I'll do now, ready for a round of applause for all of our New South Wales nominees, please. Big applause and claps all around. Fantastic. Virtual claps. That's wonderful. And shaky hands and all those things that we do that don't make noise. The shortlist 3, keep the clapping going, are in no particular order. Josh Tree, It's a Bloke Lunch. You just heard from him a moment ago, Mr. Perfect, Terry Connick's Mr. Perfect, and the awesomely viral, no, it's not coronavirus, people, it's the Man Walk. That's great. And the winner of the New South Wales Men's Health Award for 2020 will be announced after the ACT one. Oh, I just love the power. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go back to the ACT. You're going to have to wait just a little bit longer now, guys. So we have 3 contenders, Jeff Didier, the Oz Health Foundation and PIP, and this is purely on people's votes. And like I said, we've had over 5,000 votes around the country, and we haven't got a physical award for you just yet, but you'll get one in the post. You'll get a Sharon, our wonderful admin person, will be sending you, all of you, a PDF certificate, but also posting you a real certificate, and the actual winner will get a Perspex blob to put in that most important house in your room in your house. And remember, folks, every single organisation shortlisted today is still in the running for a national award. You're still in the running for a national award in your category, the women's category, COVID category, best group category. So there's still other stuff to play for. But I am about to announce that the deserved winner, and of course, folks, you're all winners, right? But the deserved winner, by way of sharing my screen, of the ACT Men's Health Awards People Vote for 2020, can I have a virtual drum roll, please, is Pip Selden of the Healthy Tradie Project. Pip, I hope you're still there.
Thank you so much. Wow.
A few words. You want to thank your mum, your producer, and all the rest of it. You try not to cry now. Go on. Over to you.
There are a couple of people who I really want to thank, and I think, for me, this is something so close to my heart because of my story. So for me, it's easy. It's easy to step out every day and really try and help tradies to live better lives and to actually change our industry. That's something that I'm really passionate about. But I really want to say a huge thank you to my partner Richard, who steps out there alongside me every time. He does so many of the movement sessions with the tradies on site, and he's really just taken it completely on board, and I guess he lives and breathes that same passion that I do now as well. And the other part of it is the contractors and the builders and the sites that are actually taking this on and opening their minds up to a different way of doing things. If it wasn't for them, and we'd just be hitting roadblocks all the time. So, to those builders and to those contractors and to those tradies, those individuals who are actually saying, you know what, there's a different way there's a better way we can do things, and we can be a different industry, and we can, reduce the number of suicides in our industry if we only look at the health and well-being of our people and look after our people. So, yeah.
That's great. Well deserved. And it's been wonderful watching you go from strength to strength. And I also feel like you're only just getting going, and there's much more to come from you yet. And of course, you will be going through to the national awards for women working in men's health, which is announced on Friday. So we'll look out for you there and see how you go there.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, really well deserved, and delighted to see that you are this year's winner for the ACT.
Thank you.
Right. And congratulations to OzHelp and Jeff Didier for the runners-up spots. You'll be going through to the national awards for Best Men's Group and Best Lived Experience Speaker. And remember, all of the contenders today will be going through to the national awards. So I'll stop sharing there, and we will now move on to the award for New South Wales people. Will it be Mr. Perfect? Will it be Josh Tree? It's a bloke lunch. Will it be the man walk? Who knows? I'm excited, and I actually know the answer. I can't imagine how excited you guys are. So here goes, by way of sharing my screen, the only way to do this on Zoom. Can we have a virtual drum roll, please? The winner of the New South Wales Men's Health Awards People's Vote winner is, make sure I've got the right picture and not some of my holiday snaps. It is it's those awesome guys from the Man Walk in the Best Men's Group category. I mean, what an amazing year, 18 months you guys have had. Over to you for your acceptance speech.
Thank you, Glenn. Thanks, everyone. It really has been amazing. We've been blown away by the response, and we've been blown away by the support. We knew we were onto something pretty special, even with our Kiama and Wollongong and Coolangatta groups through the middle part of last year. But then when things really kicked off, and some of the stories and coming back from men involved with other groups about how it was helping them connect with men in their community has just been absolutely heartwarming. So we're really hopeful we can continue to grow. We've put a lot of structures in place over the last few months that will facilitate that. And yeah, that vision of ours of connecting men and strengthening communities is just so important in these times. So we look forward to working with all of you other groups that I've had the wonderful opportunity to learn more about through Men's Health Connect, and some of the networking and meetings that I've had over this last couple of months, thanks to you, Glenn, your organisation, have just really blown me away, and to be honest, re-inspired me and our committee, 3 or 4 of whom are on the Zoom here today, to really push forward and really make a difference in this space. So yeah, we're wrapped. Thank you so much.
Oh, great. Well deserved. Delighted to see. Awesome work. Let's see you go from 70 to 700 next, right?
Yep.
We were talking about how this moment in time not just Man Walk, Mr. Perfect, and many other groups, reminds me of the beginnings of the men's sheds movement, which went from a handful of sheds in the late 90s to over 1,000 sheds now. So it's not impossible that we have 1,000 Man Walk sites and 1,000 Mr. Perfects, 1,000 mentoring men's in Westmoreland, and all the other groups that are here. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to just ask Greg Milan, the president of the Australian Men's Health Forum, if yay, high fives going on there with the guys on the Man Walk, and so it should be. We should. The check and the award is in the Perspex blob. The Perspex blob's in the post, and virtual hugs in the post, and we'll give you a real man hug when we actually see you face to face eventually. But over to Greg Milan for some final thoughts on our 2 winners there, Greg. The Healthy Tradie Project, Pip Selden, and the Man Walk, the guys at the Man Walk.
Look, fantastic. Both awards are great. I know about the Healthy Tradie program because I train people and I use your project as an example. And I start telling them about how you get tradies to do yoga and meditation, and the whole room goes, no, it can't happen. No, it can't do that. And then I show them the pictures of you doing it. And I think I've got a video as well. And it just blows the room out. They go, oh, how did you do that? You know? So I think that's amazing. And the other award for the Man Walk, I did quickly chat a while ago to Mark. Fantastic idea. So simple. I chatted to Mark. They've been doing it in Penrith too. They started up with a few guys, and I think now up to 100 guys walking along the river at Penrith on a Thursday night. So it's taking off in a really big way. Look, I just wanted to pick up on something that Glenn said at the beginning of today. We've had Men's Health Week in Australia, I think, since about 2004 for the past 16 years or more. And people like myself always get rung up in Men's Health Week by the media a lot. And they used to say, okay, what are men dying from? And I'd say, no, I want to tell you about this great product. Yeah, that's great, but we need it for the box, mate. You know, what the 10 things men are dying from. And we had to put up with that for years until I think it was about 2006. I may have got really annoyed with it. And I said to one reporter, why do you need the box? Oh, they tell us that we have to have that. We have to alert men to what they're dying of. I said, I'll give you a story about 3 great projects if you won't use the box. And I think we eventually got rid of the box. It's been a long, hard journey to get rid of that, because we're in Men's Health Week. Why do we want to tell men about things that might kill them or what they might die of? What we want to do is what we're doing now in Men's Health Connected, and what you're doing all over Australia in the amazingly creative work that you do to improve men's lives. That's the message we want to get out in Men's Health Week. So thank you, all of you across New South Wales and the ACT for the great work that you do. Top Blokes, love them. I've been around since Top Blokes began. I was blown out to find Melissa's going to have a child, and if it's a boy, it'll have top blokes here, right across the forehead, I think. But that's excellent news. You're all doing great work. Thanks a lot, and thanks, Glenn.
Great. Thanks, Greg. So that's, virtual claps all around, everybody. I think that's been great. I hope you've enjoyed just coming and actually connecting with all this positive energy. I hope you've enjoyed the opportunity to do those breakout rooms, to see about some of the projects that are emerging. And, sometimes, this is my final thought. So sometimes it's hard to explain to people what a peak body does, because we don't deliver any services. And there's a couple of things that do come back when we ask people what they value out of the work we do. And one is about providing information, but the other is actually simply about connecting people. And it sounds like such a really wishy-washy thing. But what I'm really hearing from the feedback we're getting from some of the newer groups today is how much they value being connected to that wider group of people through events like Men's Health Connected, through us running the Men's Health Awards. And so it's really heartening to get that, because what we want to do is really create a dynamic network of organizations and individuals so that when great ideas come along, they can spread through that network rapidly. And that's I think that's part of the value and power of having a forum. So thanks all for being part of this forum. Please keep doing the work that you do. I know you don't need my encouragement, because you will. And please keep getting involved and connect, because you never know what difference that one little conversation or connection can make in terms of helping us do more together to improve the lives and health of men and boys. So that's the official end.